Rodney McCune stood 5 years ago in East Antrim as an Ulster Conservative and Unionist New Force candidate. Rodney stood for the policies of welfare reform that he's telling you 5 years later he's now going to somehow oppose. He stood to bring in the bedroom tax, the welfare reform, the cuts to employment support allowance, the cuts to disability living allowance, the cuts to the attendance allowance. That's what he stood for. And now, I think, Bobby, you were in Ulster Conservative and Unionist New Force. You were not at that stage, he was just an Ulster Unionist and Conservative. I don't know, but the party was the Ulster Conservative and New Force, and both these boys brought you in welfare reform. Now, it was the DUP that voted against welfare reform in the House of Commons because the people of Northern Ireland rightly had the good sense not to send a single Ulster Conservative and Unionist New Force back to the House of Commons. We were there, and rather than advocating it as Rodney did, we voted against it. Once the House of Commons passed the bill, and we saw what was going to happen in terms of the massive cuts to public services, and I have in my office just if people, 3,238 cases. The vast majority of the work, because of my background in social work, was around employment support allowance, was around attendance allowance, was helping young people who had autism or in the autistic spectrum get help through the programme and get the forms filled out properly to get the help that they need, both financially and also in terms of special education. And over 90% of the tribunals, and by the way, I don't send my staff to do the tribunals, I do them myself. And there's people in this room tonight, I'm not going to embarrass them, but their families know I do those tribunals myself. And we've won over 90% because what these boys tried to bring in terms of welfare reform was not working out for the ordinary household and the ordinary person on the ground. And in terms of the bedroom tax, Northern Ireland never had the additional housing to place people in. It was the DUP that got the mitigating measures to ensure that the bedroom tax would not apply to Northern Ireland. And if I'm an MP, it will not apply to Northern Ireland, because you cannot turf people out of their homes that they've lived in for years when you have no alternative to give to them. So if we go back to the House of Commons, we will be in a unique position. The DUP has a potential to have an influencing role in whichever government forms. And we have said we will not accept, we're not looking to be Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary or anything like that. We don't want any positions for ourselves. We have put a 100-point plan to the people of Northern Ireland, and it's on the back of that plan which will deliver for people with disabilities, which will protect children that are currently living with severe disability. It's on the back of that plan that we negotiate with any party that wants our support to form a government. So if you want somebody that can actually do it, you can have it in the DUP. If you want somebody that 5 years ago campaigned for the pain you're experiencing, you've got your alternatives here tonight.
Given that, I think we'll let him have a response. Okay.
Yeah, sure. When Nelson McCausland was first seized of, you're sighing because you know the truth.
Are you going to say sorry to them for what you did?
When Nelson McCausland was DSD minister,
Sorry begins with an S. Right, okay.
Excuse me,
Jonathan always resorts to heckling when he's under pressure. Yes.
Sorry, I asked the question. It's just you're getting a wee bit embarrassed.
Yeah, so that's enough. Right, come on, finish up.
I was simply going to say, when he was DSD minister, he's responsible for housing stock. That's Jonathan's colleague. When he talks about the number of appeals that have to be submitted, that's overly bureaucratic. That's Jonathan's colleague. And when it comes to his position on welfare reform, when he was the minister responsible for that aspect in Northern Ireland, he was a little bit starstruck by Lord Freud from the Westminster government. He said we couldn't afford a different system and actually didn't propose any mitigating measures. They were forced out over a much longer period of time. But I think Jonathan does know that, and I'm sure if he was being perfectly straight, he would acknowledge it.
Complete nonsense.
See, unfortunately, debates like this here end up in a slanging match between people instead of answering the question. I hope I did answer a question for you. But I think one thing that everybody here realises, everybody sitting here at the top table, people that's sitting here, I think I counted 115 people, which is absolutely brilliant. You just want to see exactly the same thing that everybody else does. Better health, better housing, better education, better roads, employment for young people, nursery places for young people. Everybody is agreed, yes, we all want those. The difference comes in how do we actually achieve it. Do you achieve it through public money, private money, or a combination of both? And as I've said before, it's not rocket science that people from different political parties can't sit down and work out a method to actually achieve something that's better for you people that's sitting here, instead of throwing mud and slagging each other off.